Dudes.
Hola.
McTaggart looks like a character from a Harry Potter movie.
I was thinking more Obi-Wan.
Oh, yeah, there you go, Obi-Wan. There you go. That works. That works. Look at Crosby pulling out some Star Wars.
Of course it was. It was on my
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan?
He is the
What did he
one
win?
Obi.
Show him what he won. Okay, total sidetrack thing that has nothing to do with anything else except stuff I'm opening. You ever, buy something at, any store, and you get it out of the package, and it's actually way, more substantial than you think it should be, and you're like, ooh. And because when you were buying it, you thought, why in the hell is this thing $49? This is one of those. Makes me happy. So, not that anybody cares.
Multi-ports?
It's a multi-port hub thing that I needed for my laptop and to travel with, so I can connect all the things. Because I bought a new laptop not long ago when my old laptop died, and the new laptop is supposed to be super badder-asser than my other laptop. It's not.
Badder-asser?
It's not badder-asser, and it is way less connections on it. So now I need hubs and stuff. So that's just how they get you to spend more money.
Something else to get destructed and lost.
Yes, exactly. 100%. Absolutely. So,
As you can tell, the 32 is not back together yet.
Oh, yes, I can see that. Also, missing, I should figure out how to put up a thing on the, I can do this. I'll do this later. Wickman is not joining us. He was supposed to, but he is not. I have a feeling that Angus the dog perhaps remodeled the apartment for the 7th night in a row. And he said that Angus is getting comfortable enough that he now is pissed when they leave. So approximately 7.5 seconds after they walk out the door, he destroys the house. So, it's pretty awesome. And by awesome, I mean it's amazing. The photos are
Not.
crazy. So yeah. But want to welcome everybody, Edward and Verminator and Jet, and I think I saw Stewie in the house. Yep, Stuart Clifton in the house, dude. Thinking about you, brother. Lycan in the house as always. We're going to talk about project cars tonight. We actually had a bunch of cool stuff that Wickman was supposed to be bringing that are some cool project things that he found out about. We'll have to talk about them next time. But Lycan says, I want to build a project car to learn more and for the fun of it, but I can't drive it or store it where I live. Is there a project car collabs where you join together on stuff? And the answer is yes, dude. There actually are going to be some of those next year. So, yeah, I have some ways you could probably join in on some of that stuff that would be cool. But for those of you that don't know,
the priority.
What was the priority?
Priority not to have room for.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. Yeah. Remember, no matter how big your shop is, you'll always need a bigger one. So, yeah.
I get rid of the other shop because I was just gathering more shit.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and so we're going to talk projects tonight. We were supposed to talk about McTaggart's Charger the last time that we were on, and we didn't get to because we were talking about all kinds of other dumb stuff. So before we miss out on that, let's talk about your stuff, McT. I've got photos here from the newly installed classic instruments that he put in the Charger. And I got to say, dude, these things are rad, like super, super rad. And I got to see them in person as well. What's funny is this first picture that I'm going to share with everybody is like the least impressive picture of the bunch. And when I say that, it's because it looks so stock, which is the point. So these are the new gauges that actually function in the Charger. If any of you know Mopars from any period of the 70s or 80s, you know that gauges that function is like a not thing. But these bad boys look almost stock. Like if you compared them back to back, there's some differences, but they look like they're supposed to be there. But they've got like trick LED lighting, and you can like play with all the colors. Look at the pretty colors. How many colors are there?
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, it's a jillion.
24 total that I can access.
How many?
About 24.
Oh, Jesus, so, yeah.
This was a late edition. All the rest of the gauge cluster you see, and there's some trick stuff that I don't think I pointed out to you when you were here. So just to go over it, the basic plan was simple. I wanted it to look stock. I wanted a 140 mile an hour speedometer. I wanted a tach. I wanted a voltmeter conversion because the ammeter and Dodges from this time period, regardless of the model, are notorious for failing and then catching on fire. And I wanted actual gauges when I drove the car.
Didn't they have a resistor in them in the wire as well?
They do.
Burn up.
So
yeah,
in between the two main gauges, right about where the turn signal pod would be, behind that in the cluster is a voltage regulator. One of my earlier mods from a couple years back was to actually get a solid state voltage regulator. It worked really well, but that only got the gauges to, it got the gauge lights to function. It got power to be delivered properly. Prior to this, I had a new old stock speedometer that I had to replace almost immediately after I bought the car. There was no tach. The fuel gauge kind of sort of worked. It worked enough to where I could drive it a little bit. Temperature gauge, oil pressure gauge, non-existent. Ammeter never moved, which is very concerning. So this was a deal I put together with Classic Instruments. Basically, this is one of their customs deals. So there's two ways to go about it if you don't want to like just buy a regular kit. Like if you have a Fox body or a square body or a G body, you can just go, hey, I want the dash for my Monte Carlo, pay them, and you basically get this. And that's fine and good. If you got something a little bit off key, you have two options. You can do what they call a retrofit kit, where they take your stock gauges they put electric stuff in there. They come back, they're the exact same gauge as you gave them, but they just work.
Right, because they have all modern guts in them at that point. Yeah.
They're the exact same.
Yeah, visually they're just your stock whatever. And the cool part about that is, and I've talked to John and the guys over there about this before, if you had a car that was like super original and like had a cool patina to it and maybe the gauges weren't perfect but they matched everything else, and you don't want to put gauges in that are brand new that just look out of place, like you can send them your stock stuff and visually they will be absolutely identical. Like they're not going to even touch them from a visual standpoint, but all of the mechanism behind them will be modern stuff that is going to not be a glitchy tack that bounces around, that's not going to do any of that, that's going to be accurate. It's pretty trick.
But this is falls.
Can I keep my scratched and broken lens?
You can. You absolutely can.
This falls under their customs program, which is the next step up. So because I did a 140 mile an hour speedometer, which, yes, Chrysler made one is for cop cars, and they're like $5,000 on eBay whenever they show up. Just go ahead, just make it look like it came out of a Cadorba or a Magnum. This actually is a gauge cluster from a 78 Dodge Magnum. But it looks, it's like Chad said, most people who don't know anything about these cars are going to look and go, that is clean. What's the big deal? Chrysler guys will look and go, something's not right, but other than the speedometer, I can't put my finger on. And that's exactly what
perfect.
I want.
Yeah.
The speedometer was calibrated immediately, right? As soon as I plugged it in, you can calibrate it. There's a way to do it. But the speedometer's calibrated, the tach's calibrated. We're having an issue with the fuel gauge, but that's because of the sending unit on my car, not anything they did. And they're being very helpful and working with me on that issue. So
yeah, but I think you can program that out of it.
No,
to where it'll.
The ohm readings are extremely weird. Like it goes from
yeah, there's some issue with the actual sending unit itself. Yeah,
6.5 at 5 gallons from empty. It's like 21.7. It is really weird. I'm probably
what I would do is I would just put an autometer sending or the actual ohm unit with the arm and everything on it on your neck.
Yeah, you gotta understand. My neck's already everything.
Yeah, that's already been done. It's all brand new. That's in the tank. It's just not working right.
No,
so.
I'm just saying use a 0 to 90 instead of that, like 105 to 390
gotcha.
or whatever.
Yeah.
310, but obviously it's nowhere near 73 or 10. So
yeah,
minor deal.
Right.
Well, yeah, they'll get that sorted. That's no big deal. But the big point is that if you're at home and you have something that you want to have gauges in, even something as weird as a wrong year charger like this, obviously Classic, those guys can hook you up. So they'll get you set with whatever you want. And the truth of the matter is, like one of the biggest things is when full disclosure, they're a sponsor of ours on the website. I'll be honest with you, like they've been around forever and they do, McTaggart wanted custom that looks not very custom. But the truth is that they do they've done all the gauges.
That work.
Well, yeah, but they do all the gauges and have for years and years for, Troy Trepagna for his custom, builds and a lot of the biggest names in the industry. And the thing is that they can make them have anything you want on the screens, and make them have logos or whatever. And, and so those are, ultra high end cars.
They did that. They did that custom set for us for the 48-hour Corvette too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. They've been a sponsor for all those projects. But the big thing is that they put these systems in all these big high dollar cars, and then guys like me go, well, Classic is awesome, but I can never have those because they're $1 million. And the truth is they're not. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you go full custom, they're not cheap. No, but they're regular kits. When they started advertising with us on Powershift, they didn't have there were no like kit prices in any of the ads, and I said, I got to tell you, if I see the ad for you guys, I'm drooling over it, but I think I can't afford it. and they're like, oh, well, we have kits for as little as, $800 or whatever. I don't know what the numbers are. And so I'm like, oh, well, why aren't we putting that in the ads? And so we started, because just as a FYI, like I have a 56 Chevy station wagon, a lot of you guys know about, that has full autometer gauges in it. And they're all the autometer, like super trick, race gauges, that I put in there a jillion years ago. And in 2005, I had like $1,000 in gauges. Again, that's 18 years ago now. And they're like $1,000 at the time. That's a $1,500 bill now.
And you got to run 3,000 wires to hook everything up.
Oh my God, yes. And I love them, and they fit cool, and they're what I wanted for all the spots in my car. But keep in mind also that when I did that, so a 56 and a 57 have the same dash, and you couldn't buy a race style gauge pack. You could just buy street rod style stuff back then for those. And so I had to build my own. So I literally cut up a factory, inside part of the bezel, not the bezel, but the all the part in the back that held all the factory gauges in it. I cut all that up and made my own panel and put everything in there, and was able to fit gauges in that everybody said wouldn't fit. But again, I spent $1,000 on gauges, and then probably 20 hours in labor to make them all fit in there. And now you can buy a setup for that money or less from Classic that does it with a jillion options on how it looks and which gauges are where and all those things, which is awesome. So,
and correction to your earlier statement, 55 and 56, same dash.
Sorry, yeah, that's right. 55 and 6. Yeah, 57 is the oddball.
The people that will lose their minds if we tell them wrong.
Oh, I know, exactly.
So the basics with this, they're all electronic driven, the speedometer included. There's no more cable, no more bouncing speedometer. Because this cluster is such a pain in the ass to pull in and out of the car, I will say it's probably about 20-25 hours worth of work to get it done. But that's removing and installing the cluster itself. The actual wiring is simple and straightforward. They have main connection plugs already set to go. You basically just have to take your FSM or your Shilton's, whatever schematic you've got, and correct wire to correct spot. They give you the terminal ends. They give you the cam plug-ins. All you got to do is basically do a model kit. If you can put together, an AMT model, you can put this together, no problem. They're not liquid filled jet black. They're basically stock lens. So it's a 3-part setup. It's the gauges themselves, a stock lens that has been scrubbed of the bars and the too small. And the too small, there would be like a disc above. We cut those out and just made them regular. And then the face. And there's one thing, Chad, if you can bring up the picture of the cluster. 2 things. One, the cluster in green.
Okay. I can do that. I have the technology.
I asked explicitly to see if they could pull off Chrysler green. It's a really strange request. Yeah, first one.
Right there, right?
No, the first one before the daylight shot.
Back.
You go. Other way. Nope. Other way.
Okay. Well, other way is video.
No. Okay. So I asked if they could pull off a stock Chrysler green. That's what they did. That is about as close as you humanely can get. And then if you'll go one.
Well, and nobody's going to know unless you have 2 cars sitting next to each other in the dark staring at both. I mean,
I know, but it's one of those cool things to where this is the amount of customization that Classic can do for you.
Right.
And if you'll go one more over.
There is no more one over.
Guys
That's the
not
end.
Playing Dungeons and Dragons.
This one.
That's kind of stuff you compare, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, and that's one of those things. It's a very detailed thing, because if you're going to do something like this, you might as well go all in. So if you look underneath...
That's why he's wearing the hood tonight. He was playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, exactly.
I'm about to say things that even Chad will not say on the live stream. But the one detail you won't see yet, so underneath the small gauges, there's the 4 idiot lights that every 75, 79 Chrysler B-body came with. Fasten seat belts and brake are lit up. Those are the only 2 that usually work. The other 2 left to right they are supposed to be catalyst and check EGR, which was, to the best of my knowledge, some emission stuff that never happened. Well, the one next to emergency brake, the bright red one, that's been changed. They changed the idiot light face. That now says reverse. And if you know anything about Chrysler products from the early 70s, you know exactly what's going on there, and that's all the hint I'm going to drop for what's coming next.
Okay. I know. That's because of the other thing. Okay, so I'm gonna make fun of Mopar for a minute then right now. So I love how Mopar was the most selfish manufacturer on the face of the earth. They were the reason that grumpy dads bought Mopars. Was for the reason that you can see to the left of the steering column. So all of the heat and AC controls are on the left side of the steering column, where no human being except the driver can possibly get at them. So it was two things. It was screw you, wife, kids, anybody else that wants to touch my climate control, and safety be damned, because I'm reaching down to the left side and crashing my shit while trying to turn the heater up. Whatever.
You're right about the position. Ford
Always cracked me up.
Ford also put the heater controls that far over too. In the early size, like the full size cars.
Yeah.
All of it was over.
See, so all the wrong cars. So GM for the win in the middle, like he's supposed to be.
And they all
for a quick dig, huh?
all put the key switch on the left side too.
For a bunch of stuff that used to. I think it's funny when you look at like if you look at European cars and they still have the ignition switch is still on the right side of the column, like right next to the door, feels strange, you know? Like, yeah. And I know a guy who grew up in the UK, and he says that that the normal deal, like everybody dicked with their buddies, was that you just reach in the window and grab the key and run off. You know, because it's right there. You didn't have to. It's not like on a normal car. Well, like American car, we have to like lean in the damn car to grab hold of it. You know, so it's pretty funny. So of course, Rebel Driver, my '73 Caddy had AC on the left. Yeah, you had a weird one. But Jet Black mentioning the liquid-filled gauges. So liquid-filled gauges actually are not a very common thing anymore, as far as most people aren't using them anymore. There's just no reason, with the exception of if you're really extreme off-road stuff. And by extreme, I don't mean like rock crawling. I mean like desert racing. If you're King of the Hammers, that kind of stuff, Ultra Ford, Baja, etc. And the thought behind the liquid filled gauges is, which if I remember right, it's like a mineral oil, isn't it, Crosby? Isn't it? Glycerin. That's what it is. Yeah, and so the idea behind it is that if there's a big shock load, that the needle isn't going to bounce because it's in the liquid, right? So it's going to have a harder time doing that. Yep. But again, you used to see everybody had to put them in their race cars, and that was the thing. It's not a thing anymore, except in those really extreme vibration use stuff. But like even in a normal drag car or anything, just not necessary. For the biggest reason is because none of you sons of bitches out there actually look at your gauges anyway.
I have a liquid filled air gauge for the race car.
Oh really? Oh yes, there you go. Yeah. I see that. Lycan says that my mic is too hot. Let me turn myself down. Is that better? Am I less loud now?
That's better.
Is that better? Lycan, tell me if you need me.
We can usually hear you without the mic. So
I know. Yeah, exactly. Well, let me know if the level's better. I had this thing in my backpack, so it must have got hit. But
can you hear him talking? If you can't hear him talking, he's not in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Lycan, I'm turning it down a little bit more too.
If we'll make digs about project cars and GMs, can we talk about yours?
My projects? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what about
the one you just?
You mean the Chevette?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, the Chevette's just sitting, so yeah, it's next year's project. Yeah, it's next year's project. So, there were people that were like, "Oh, you got to get
behind the 6 other ones."
Yeah, exactly. people were like, oh yeah, do this to the motor and do that to the motor. Under no circumstances is the factory engine ever running in that car again. Like the trying to get it home on it was just to see if we could. And everything we did worked perfect. The engine just wouldn't make it the whole way.
Because that I never figured out.
This is my surprised face.
Oh yeah, like 18 miles or so, 20 miles, something like that. And it was.
That sounds like a 48 Ford Coupe with a water pump.
Yeah, exactly. No, the 48 Ford ran great compared to this. It had a. Well, I don't want to let all the info out, but it had a stuck lifter or tappet, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it had one that gave up the ghost. It would not unstick. Remember when you first brought your Corvette home, Crosby, and all the lifters were collapsed? And I said, dude, no problem.
Yeah.
And we put ATF in it, and we ran it like 4 times, and the thing ran mint. In fact, didn't Jay put that engine in another project at some point?
Jay put that in that 69 Chevelle and sold it.
Oh, yeah, there you go. And it ran mint.
That thing's still running.
Yeah. And so for those of you that don't know, if you have stuck lifters in a in a hydraulic, flat tappet, Kyle Smith says about 30 miles. If you have a hydraulic lifters that are stuck and noisy from sitting, just put a quart of ATF in the oil and run it.
It's been sitting for a while. You should put some ATF in it and loosen it up, or Marvel Mystery Oil or whatever.
Right, which is what we used in the Chevette, but it wouldn't work. But if you put the ATF in it, it's got really heavy detergents in it. It won't hurt anything in the engine at all. It'll clean it real good.
You don't want to put a lot in it, like half a quart.
Yeah, I'll do a quart. Doesn't hurt my feelings in a normal like 5-quart system or whatever, because you're not going to run it in there forever. But if you run the engine, like literally just let it sit there and idle, for 10 minutes, and then shut it off, and let it sit for 15 or 20 minutes, and then do it again. If you do that 3 or 4 times, 99% of the time, it'll free them up and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like in Crosby's Corvette,
it rattled.
Oh, every single lifter was stuck on it. Yeah. And you called me and said, hey, do you have a quadrajet laying around we could put on this thing so I don't have to fix this
That's
one?
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'll be right there. And I had a fresh quadrajet, so we put it on it. And that thing fired right up. But again, it rattled to who said it. But it sat there and ran perfectly fine. Well, I shouldn't say that. It smoked a bunch the first run. It smoked a little less each time. And by the time we had done it 3 or 4 times, the thing didn't smoke at all, and the lifters were as quiet as could be, and did an oil change on it, and it was fine.
So that thing only had 62,000 original miles on it.
Right. It had just been sitting for a long time.
Well, the last tag on it was 83.
Yeah. And the thing is that when you watch all these videos of the will it run or whatever, we always joke about the ran when parked thing that people put in ads, but the truth of the matter is, if it ran when it was parked, it will run again as long as the motor's not seized up. And just to be clear, the motor in the Chevette was a little bit seized up. It may or may not have taken a 6-foot breaker bar and some jiggling for it to break loose. And we were gentle with the amount of force we were using on it, and it broke free and it spun over really good and it was fine, and it fired right up. Like, it ran great. That Sniper EFI worked like a champ on it, but the thing was, it just had one lifter that was
the
just
EFI
loud as hell.
Worth more than the car.
Oh, by a lot. Are you kidding me? The fuel system in the car is worth what the car is worth. Yes. Yeah, and
probably double.
It's
we tripled the value of the car by putting a fuel injection system on it.
Oh, 100%. That thing is, if it was just a roller, stone stock, and it was just a roller, that car's worth $1,000 or so. to 1,500. If it ran and stuff, it's worth a couple grand. But
Terry and David Stoker had the old hooker Chevette.
That's right.
Give that thing away.
Yeah, and see, right now they're hotter than hell. They are hard to find. So Kyle had this one for years, and he planned on doing something to it. And then he heard I was looking for one because I already had an engine and trans and everything for one. And he heard I was looking for one, and so I sat down and talked to him about it. And when we were talking about it, he said, "Okay, what are you going to do with it?" And the only way I could get it was by giving him the right answer, which I didn't know at the time. And so my answer was correct. So what's going to happen with this thing is it's getting an LTG crate motor from Chevrolet and a 6-speed manual transmission in it. That is all the stuff that comes in a new Camaro. So a new Camaro that's the 4-cylinder turbo combo, that's what this is. So it makes 275 horse, 275 torque in a car that weighs 2,500 pounds. I don't even know what the hell. Let me see. What is it?
They weigh that much.
No, probably not. 1987 Chevette curb weight. Let's see what it is.
87.
18. Yeah, it's an 87. It weighed, depending on what options it had, 1,843 to 2,035 pounds. So the thing weighed 1,800 to 2,000 pounds. And,
before we got it out, the carpet, the habit trail.
When did they stop making Chevettes?
1987 is the last year of a Chevette. And it weighs and fully loaded, it weighs the same as my Civic. Yeah. Yep. My Civic's the exact same weight as this thing. So, which makes sense because it's the easiest thing ever to push. Even at speed, when Steven and I jumped out of it while it was still going as fast as the two of us could run, it wasn't a big deal to push it the half a block and around the corner. It helped that it had evacuated somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 pounds worth of coolant out of it. So,
Oh, that helped.
Yeah, because while the
2,100.
There you go. It made a lot more power than this thing. But yeah, so it's getting all kinds of stuff. It's getting some suspension upgrades and stuff. Nothing crazy. It is not going to be a pro touring car. It is not going to be a drag car. It is going to be a driver, just a cool little driver. I do have to say, the blue that is on the car, while it is covered in moss and everything, and it's been repainted, so it's got some paint that's peeling off of it. But the color is awesome.
It's blue.
It's blue. Yes, and it's the hold on, let me look it up. I would
never guess from the pictures.
So,
I know it is blue.
You're seeing the repaint, which is not great. That paint sucks. But under the hood and where the license plate would be, cleaned up beautifully. That paint is gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah, it is. If you look at hold on, I'll share this.
Is it like that lighter version of like a grabber blue or something?
I'm going to show it to you right now.
Color, a little bit of metallic.
It's not far. It's a little grayer than like B5 blue from a Mopar, honestly. Yeah. But hold on, I'll show you. Okay, so the interior looked like this stock, except with cloth seats. The outside paint color is that color.
Oh yeah,
and it's really a good color. And I like it, so we'll end up painting it that color again, probably. But obviously, it's a 2-door hatchback. The ramp truck that it showed up on today was the fanciest ramp truck I've ever seen. It's like a 1-year-old high country, or no, it was it's a GMC, so it was a Denali crew cab dually with a Hodges 19-foot bed on it, all painted to match and stuff. It was sexy, and the Chevette sitting on there looking all badass. Like, oh yeah, it was cool. Yes,
the ramp
Scott Liggett is saying
that looked that much worse.
Oh yeah. So Liggett's like 87 last year in the U.S. Didn't they make them longer in Brazil? Yes and no. The Chevette in Brazil is not the Chevette that was here, but yes, they made them a lot longer, like till 2000 or something like that. But they're not the same car. I mean, they have some of the same stuff, but like the front end on them is way better in Brazil, and and Europe. So those were way, way cooler cars. But, okay, Kyle says they called this color aquamarine metallic. Yeah. But the thing weighs 4 pounds. It's hilarious because this thing factory had, drum brakes in the rear, but it had non-vented front brakes. It's solid rotors in them because it doesn't weigh nothing. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't weigh nothing.
Vegas were the same way.
Yeah.
I had the
okay, and so the rotors, anybody else would have said, you need to turn the rotors, on this thing. I said, yes, I'm going to when I drag my foot on the brake for the first 5 miles. They're clean as a whistle. The brakes work great. The funny thing is, the really crappy thing about this thing is it literally, it was horrible inside until McTaggart stripped all the interior out of it. Now it's totally fine. I got in it today. It doesn't stink at all. It's great. It has no carpet in it or any of that anymore.
Or what?
Yeah, it was just all moldy and nasty and mouse shit. Yeah.
Trail.
That's why McTaggart's sick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he has the hentavirus.
I agree. This is cold. It was so bad. I'm not kidding you. So I saw the car when it was still sitting under the tree. Every Western Washington abandoned I've ever seen where it's got moss and algae growing on it. Got flying trails from the slugs and snails. We roll it in. The next day I show up. We take Tough Stuff foaming spray. I hose every piece of glass, put a brush on a drill, and for 2.5 hours cleaned every piece of glass.
The brush on the drill was a pro move. It's a brush 6-inch diameter, stiff, bristly plastic brush. Dude, he just on every. Dude, it cleaned shit pro. It was great.
We pulled the carpet.
Shit, I've always just taken vinegar and dump it over the top of it.
Well, the thing was, I'm not kidding in the least. I'm not even, being joking about it. Chad said he wanted to leave the patina. And honestly, I was cool with it. So I cleaned the lights. I cleaned the glass. I didn't touch anything on the body.
Yep.
And when we got to the inside, we pulled the carpet. I went and threw up behind Kyle's Jeep.
That is true. He did.
I'm not kidding you. I've done.
He really did. He booted. Yeah, it was pretty nasty.
And then basically did the exact same treatment to every body panel in the car that I didn't think the brush would eat through. Cleaned the dash just fine. The doors just fine. We took the seats out, cleaned them up enough to where I could put seat covers on and be okay.
There's a lot of stuff, and you're going to see it in video. We shot a lot of video and stuff. We're not going to give you everything. But trust me, there was a shit ton of work that went into it for... what was it? 3 days, I guess? Yeah.
About 3 days, and I am looking forward to that video because that was a thrash. That I will say that was the first time since I lived in Arizona, so 2013, that I've been a part of a thrash with a whole bunch of people, all of whom would work on the car. It's not just me doing the work and some guy standing there drinking whatever I've supplied and eating the pizza.
Everybody was thrashing. Yeah.
Everybody did work to it.
You'll love this is we did not do a single thing to the outside of the car other than to wash the windows and the taillights off. And McTaggart did the replacement on the headlights. Let me tell you folks, if you have a vehicle that Holly makes retro bright headlights for, which means 5-inch and 7-inch rounds, and 4x6 and 5x7 rectangle lights, if you don't buy them and put them in your hot rod, you're an idiot. Just straight up retarded, because these things look 100% stock, other than if you look real close where they would have said H4, it says Holly. They look stone stock, and they are the best headlights I have ever had in any car ever. That car has the best headlights of any car I've ever driven in my life, and they're amazing. And I always was planning on putting them in my Blazer and stuff, but dude, I'm going to put them in the dually. I'm putting them in everything. They are amazing how bright they are. They're awesome.
Had you ever seen have you ever actually been in a car with them prior to the Chevette at all? Ever?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Because I've had them in the Charger for a couple years now. I've got a set waiting for the Mustang when I get back on it. I know they're expensive. It's good money after good product.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. They're absolutely
Okay, now that
amazing.
you told us about them, where can you purchase them?
If you just go to holly.com and you can look on brands at the top of the page and look at Retro Bright, or you can go holly.com and go lighting, either way, and you'll find them there.
Oh, okay.
And the beauty of these lights that's awesome is that you can get them in 2 different color temperatures. So if you want them to be like the more modern bright white, like, which is what's in this, you can get those. If you still want the color temperature to look like an old light, meaning that sort of, yellowish white, they have them that way. They're still way brighter than factory, but they're that color temperature. So even going down the road, they look totally stock. And you can also get them yellow, if you want yellow, which are not, I wouldn't recommend those as your only headlights, but like on
yellow, like if you'll see a lot of guys will do the
If you got a four lamp setup.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, Kyle is saying, yes, I am lying. Kyle said I'm a liar, and he's right. Before I drove the Chevette, the 2 days prior to that, I was driving his Jeep.
Right.
His YJ is what we drove. That's what was my rental car while we were there. Steven and I drove his Jeep back and forth to the hotel, and it has the same exact headlights in it because they're the rectangle ones. And I never even turned the high beams on. Like, they're that good. And they, on a modern car, how you get that really clean upper line with your headlights, it gets that, and they're badass. And they're automatically, here's the other thing. Original headlights for your car were just designed to go, straight like that. They were just straight and you adjusted the headlight. These are actually left and right, and they inside the reflector is actually cheated inside to make them light the lane correctly so that it lights the right side of your lane more than the left side. As far as out of your lane, right? So you're lighting the shoulder, but you're not blinding the people in the other traffic coming toward you. They're badass, dude. Like, seriously, I cannot tell you how good these lights are.
The lights on the 32 are so low. I need to put something different in that. So.
Oh, dude, these things, are they a 5-inch on the 32?
Well, the 5.5 or whatever they are.
Yeah. You need to look at those because they're amazing. Tom says that the price of unit I might qualify as retarded for buying them too, but yes, they are bright. No, I'm telling you, because you got to remember too, they're LEDs, so they never wear out. Like, literally never wear out. You can't, like, they're 50,000 hours or whatever.
Yeah.
That LEDs run. Like, 50,000 hours would mean you drive for the next 45 years and never put headlights in, so look at that angry cat. Well, she's not angry right now, but if Wickham was on the screen, she'd be angry. Yeah,
she wants his arm off.
Yeah, exactly. But I will tell you that they are they're awesome. Like, I'm not even kidding. And the sniper, like, I got to thank Kyle. I got to thank Steven. Steven flew out to come do this with it, and it was awesome. It was super fun. Kyle was great for, being there with the car, for having got a lot of parts we needed ahead of time, for letting us use his shop and hanging out. And his wife and his daughter were both there helping and stuff too. And then Harrison came out from Holly EFI, and he was there wiring and stuff and having a great time. He's a great guy. It was awesome to have him there. Obviously McTaggart was there, and Jeff Teal was there too. We had a good time. Like, it was really fun. It was really fun. We had a good time, and they were everybody was having fun. Like, there was no meltdown moments. There was none of that. We worked until like midnight, except the Saturday night, I think, or
Saturday we called it early. Yeah,
we went till at like 3 a.m. or something, and we were done. But we we were wanting to leave on Sunday morning, but I knew we wouldn't. So, realistically, we needed to leave by Sunday afternoon. And so I was just aiming for Sunday morning. But when we left, we would have, if the car would have run all right and lasted, we would have made it no problem home in the time we needed to make it. But she lost some important things. They decided they were no longer wanting to party. So we didn't even get to spray it. I mean, because that's the other thing. There's a full nitrous kit on the car for a dry shot and everything, because why wouldn't you?
Of course there is. Not knowing if you wanted to hide that particular.
Oh no. We never sprayed it. We didn't even get to fill the bottle up. So I had that all set. I actually had gotten a message from a dude in Nashville that was like, yeah, bring it over and I'll fill the bottle. Or exchange it. He's like, I have brand new bottles that are full. He's like, we can just exchange it. I was like, hell yeah, that'll work. But yeah, the funniest thing about it, you'll have to watch later for the videos. Scott asked when the video is coming out. It'll come out when we start the project next year. But you can see there are pool noodles and a propped up hood, and there's reasons for that, and so it's pretty funny. Now, Richard Holdner was really hoping this thing would last because he wanted me to run that little, what is it, a AMR 500 or whatever, that little blower.
That little blower, yeah.
That little roots blower. He's like, dude, we have to put the little roots blower on that thing, and I'm like, I'm totally in. But it obviously wasn't willing to party. So, yeah. Yeah, dude. Oh, what was funny about it, though? This thing's been sitting that long. You expect to get in it and it to, like, rattle and, like, like the suspension to be clunky and, like everything to be loose. Dude, this thing rode nice. The brakes worked good. Like, we bled the brakes, but it didn't, like, nothing was wrong with that.
How many miles were on it when parked?
98,000 or something like that. Yeah, it's like just...
Wow, it made it that long?
Yeah, it's just under 100,000 if I remember right. Like 98 or something. I don't know. I don't have the title sitting right here. So,
how big is the motor in that thing?
1.6 liter is the stock one. The one I'm putting in is 2 liters. So, yeah, it's a 1.6 liter. It's an Isuzu, and so it has this weird valve cover that is actually 2 side covers that come off. Okay, one on the valve side and one on the tappet side, and then the cam runs through the middle, and it's the top of the head comes off, and then it's weird. But it did leak oil. We thought it had a rear main seal leak. It turns out it was one of those side covers, but you couldn't get gaskets for it, so we did the schmear of gasket maker around it because we were afraid to take it off. Because if we took it off, the gaskets were going to turn to dust. So we just went all the way around them, and it was great. So, yeah, it was pretty good otherwise. Yeah, but like I said, it smells nice now. Yeah, it has a full floating shifter.
You almost killed McTaggart, but it smells nice.
Oh, it was hilarious. I mean, McTaggart and I pulled the carpet out together. I helped with that, and it was, oh my god!
So he's not making fun of me for throwing up. He knows.
Oh no! I'm not making fun of him for throwing up. I mean, I was laughing because he was the smart one. I'm standing there and I'm pulling on this carpet, and I'm like, "You have gloves on," and he's looking at me like, "Yeah." Why wouldn't you have gloves on?
Why don't you?
Because I'm an idiot. And I was literally going, it was like...
The most messed up part of this, we pull the seats, we pull the carpet, we pull the headliner, we do all this work inside the car, vacuum it out, clean it up, get things prepped, put the seats back in after we've reskinned them. And then we realize that there is still an entire dead mouse on the back seat that nobody has noticed.
Oh, no, I noticed it the very first thing before we even started working on it. I just figured you had already pulled it out. Oh, yeah. I knew that was there. I just assumed he was already gone. But he was a petrified mouse.
You don't pay me enough for that.
The best part is this car is rust-free, quote-unquote. The only rust in the car is it has one hole in the passenger side floor that's probably less than a dime. It's got a thin area. It'll probably end up being a, inch and a half, whatever, hole to patch. There's some stuff that's like pitted or whatever. All of the rust is from the inside out. There is no rust from the outside in. The rust that is in the floor is from the inside out because the 75,000, gallons of rat piss that was in the passenger side floorboard or whatever. Oh yeah, it's hilarious. There was a jaw bone. I'm not going to let all the stuff. There's lots of shit you're just going to have to watch. Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of things. The car is probably going to be nicknamed the Jackalope. If you look in this picture that I posted, you'll see that there's deer antlers mounted to the front license plate. So we'll probably call it the Jackalope. But the car is in amazingly straight shape considering the fact that it has been hit on the driver's side at some point. Just in the door, it looks like. And so they sprayed the door and like blended into the fender and the quarter. On the passenger side, it has one ding. I'm going to say ding. It's in a very weird spot in the pillar, but nothing a big hammer can't fix, so it'll be fine. It's totally fine.
It's a car anybody else would give a McChicken for. It's perfectly straight in that case.
Yes, it is. It's great. I was so blown away by the number of people who are like, I know where there's an engine and this and that. And to be fair, we've seriously considered, because there was an engine that was about 2 hours away. We could have gotten an engine in it by Sunday night or Monday morning that was a running and driving deal. But Steven had to be back at work. And yeah, exactly. Steven had to be back at work. So I would have had to drive it home solo, which I'm dumb enough to do that. But ultimately, it would have ended up costing more money than just getting the car home. And that's if mom and dad had just come to get it. But thankfully, Tyler Bohannon, who was already like going through Bowling Green on his way home and then coming here to deliver a car and pick up another one, said, I got room. I'll come get it. And so he hauled it and it was awesome. Like super. Yeah, really appreciate it. He's a drag racer, and he's a good dude. I had never met Tyler before. I knew his name, but I had never met him before. Super nice kid. And he hauled it, took care of it, helped us load it on the trailer. The beauty of the ramp truck is we backed the ramp truck up to my trailer, pulled the ramps out of the ramp truck, and just rolled it off the ramp truck onto the trailer. So it was super easy. And since it weighs 4 pounds, that made it simple. But yeah, but Tyler grabbed it, and he should be. He's not home yet. He'll probably be home in probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. He might stop for the night, but he handled it. So it was very, very cool of him to volunteer and offer to help. That was way good because it just saved us. And there were other people that did too. Like Steve Strupp said, hey dude, I'm coming through there. I'll pick you up. You can drive with me and I'll get you to Tyler and your dad can come get us there. And that was awesome too. But it just worked out that Tyler's deal was like the way to go. So I said, okay.
Well, that's the way this community is though.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And in fact, a friend of mine the other day was saying, she says to me, I didn't know anything about car people or whatever until I started watching what you're doing. And she says, it seems like really good community of people. And I said, oh, they're shitty car people too. Don't get me wrong. Like there are shitty golfers or whatever. But generically speaking, we only hang out with the cool ones. So, because we'd all do the same thing. I mean, if I was hauling an empty trailer going across and somebody needed something, we always say it. Think about it. Everybody always is posting up on Facebook. David Carroll does it all the time. Like, hey, anybody need anything hauled? I got an empty trailer going here. And then vice versa. He says, hey, does anybody have an empty spot? Mm-hmm. I need a car to get from here to wherever. And that's cool, I mean, way back in the day when Freiberger and I were doing Car Junkie TV, we did the Red Ball Express, which was to get a Javelin from Burbank all the way to Massachusetts to Loans. And I hauled it from Southern California to to Ely, Nevada, handed it off to Randall Burns. Randall hauled it to somewhere in Utah, and another dude picked it up there. There were a couple of people that hauled it that said, I have a truck and a trailer, and I am totally willing to donate my time, but I'm flat broke and I need gas money. And so Loans sent them Shell gift cards, so that they could, use that to buy gas. There was a lot of help for that. I don't know. I think like 10 or 12 people hauled that car across the country. It was pretty neat. But Will Beatty in the house. Mike Cunningham says, have you guys ever seen the on the road assist list on the GRM forum? No, that's Grassroots Motorsports. For those of you that don't know, no, share that, Mike. That's cool. Again, people, helping each other out is always a good deal. So, it's like, Wickham needed his truck picked
karma.
up. Yeah, exactly. Wickham needed his truck picked up from a shop here, and I went and got it and then stored it at my place until Hector, Rick's dad from Rick's Tanks, came and picked it up at our place to haul it to El Paso. So, and he did it because he had an empty trailer too, so
yeah, that's
cool. It's way cool. So again, Tyler, big thanks to you, dude. That was awesome. So you have the TKX almost in the 32 there, Crosby?
Actually, TKX is on its way here, thanks to Will Beatty and everybody at McLeod and Silversport. Nice. Not free, but a very, very good deal.
They've sponsored you for a long time. Yeah.
They've helped.
What do you have to do?
And,
what else do you have to do?
I've already done everything. I borrowed a TKX from TCI and got everything mocked up in it. The drive shaft will be done tomorrow.
Nice.
I got the tunnel all done, so everything will just go in the car, and that part, everything. Basically, the car is ready to go at that point.
How much tunnel work did you have to do compared to the other Trans?
I really didn't have to do that much, but I actually opened the top of the tunnel up a little bit to give it a little more air gap around the Trans to keep the heat down. Yeah. And then built a new shifter boot and remounted a bunch of stuff in it.
Nice.
But I'm looking forward to fifth gear.
Yeah. Will says he can't wait to drive it. Me too.
I'm surprised you haven't driven it already.
Yeah. Actually, I want to drive that thing too.
I put everybody else in it.
I was going to say. We'll have to see. I'll be out in January again for MPMC. We'll have to see if there's any events going on or whatever. Well, the Grand National is going to be going on. So, yeah.
You should. You know that Brett's bringing the Pro Street car out for that, right?
Yes, that's right. Oh, then I do need to stay in town for that.
I'm going to go with him. Probably fly back to Indiana, help him get that ready to ship it out here.
Oh, nice. Oh, so he's going to ship it?
End of the month. I don't know exactly how it's going to be transported, but
yeah,
more than likely it'll probably end up at my place, and I'll take it out there and get it set up.
Yeah, that's cool. Hawthorne.
I'm
Drive shaft shop around SoCal. Yeah, lots. There's the Inland Empire Drive Line. And then there's, what's the one that's right there in Ontario that's the guy that used to be at Inland?
That's California Drive Line.
Yeah, California Drive Line. Real. Yep, California Drive Line did one for me in, I can't remember what the hell car. It may have been one for Daphne's car.
I thought it was Daphne's wagon that they did.
I think it was for the wagon.
Yeah, but Inland Empire did the big one for the wagon. And then, I don't know. I must have had another one done. But anyway, yeah, they're out here in Inland Empire. They're both great.
The one for the dually? Or was that?
That's what it was. No, that was what it was. The one for the dually. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep, doing that one.
But they just rebuild it and everything.
Right. But they're great. They both of those shops, I would do anything with them. Drive shafts are not cheap. Here in the Dallas area, I use Drive Shaft King, and I have forever. They used to be cheap. They're not cheap anymore. I am hoping
anything's really cheap anymore.
I know. Well, I'm hoping that I can acquire a lathe when I get my shop up and running, and I get something that I could afford, and then do my own drive shafts. Because doing drive shafts are simple. The actual mechanics of building a drive shaft is not rocket science. Balancing them requires equipment, but the truth of the matter is you can do that also if you have the right stuff. But a lathe just makes it really nice to get the thing trued up, and then if you use the welding blankets on your lathe, you can weld it on the lathe, and that makes it even better.
In the infamous words of Rob McGregor, if I had a lathe, I could fix my lathe. Yeah,
exactly. God, yeah. I'd love to have one. I'd like a mill and a lathe, but I don't own either of those yet, and I don't need them right now, so it's fine. But yeah, Dar, both of those are good. I'm sure there's others that are closer to LA as well, but those are the two that I know I've used personally and had really good luck with them.
Well,
Jet Black is saying you want a Bridgeport. I want a mill and I want a lathe, and I don't care that it's a Bridgeport. There's lots of other good brands of mills for a guy like me who'd be whittling away on stuff that I don't know how to machine anyway. So,
I lucked out on mine.
Oh, I know. And you have great equipment. Your lathe is awesome. Your mill is great. But see, here's one thing about shop equipment that I think it's the exact same thing as all these guys that get online and you're talking about like camshafts or tuning, etc. And guys are like, oh no, that's the wrong cam, blah, blah, blah. You'd get 6 more horsepower. Well, you know what? Blow it out your ass, because you couldn't feel 6 horsepower if your life depended on it, okay? So, and also guys that are like, oh, no, gotta have the, umpteen jillion dollar, mill. Well, you know what? I'm not building the space shuttle. Yeah, I don't need any of that crap, because it's still only as good as the guy that's machining it. And quite frankly, there are no machinists anymore. I know real machinists, and all of these guys who claim to be machinists who run CNC machines.
I am not, by any sense of the word, a machinist.
Right.
I can design parts all day long.
Oh, yeah.
I can't machine them to save my freaking life.
Right, but you can muddle through when you need to. I've seen you machine stuff, right? Because you'll do it and you'll take your time,
Yeah, there's the guys who take the time to do it right, something like that, where it's a one-time thing, versus a machinist, the old school type who he just blinks and it's done right.
Oh yeah.
That is
Ride Tech was full of those guys. So
like
Tom Bagley is asking about me covering Rocky Mountain Race Week. We'll cover Rocky Mountain Race Week forever. So yes, for sure, Tom, we're doing both. So 1.0 and 2.0. So they'll be all good. Mike Cunningham says you need one step above a handheld belt sander. Yes. Oh, this is true. Jet Black. Machinists have an engineer's ruler in their pocket. That's a good point.
Yeah. In their pocket protector, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to West Coast Power Tour.
Yeah, that should be fun. Oh, wait, before we stop talking about machining, Krishna sent me a text message, and he's 100% right. I watch this guy religiously on YouTube, and that is Cutting Edge Engineering out of Australia. Curtis at Cutting Edge Engineering in Australia is a certifiable badass. Like, there should be somebody walking behind him with a sign that says that guy is a badass. He machines mostly big things.
1-inch deep V.
To
weld it. And you got to make 13 passes.
I know. Clearly you know who I'm talking about. Dude.
Oh, yes. I watch him all the time. That guy is the shit.
And, oh, by the way, he does press fit parts, okay? Mike Cunningham says when machinist says tenth, he doesn't mean a tenth of an inch. He means a tenth of a thou. Yeah, or a tenth of a millimeter, or a tenth of a mil, But the cool thing about Curtis is that he's making press fit parts and stuff lots of times, and he measures all of those things with calipers. Not digital calipers, but real live calipers. I've only seen that guy use a micrometer a handful of times, and he's a badass. He has a giant lathe, a bunch of killer machines, really killer machines.
Well, he's
such a good dude.
New big machines in there.
Big machines.
That one that had like an 8-foot bed on it, or
yes. It looks like you put the Chevette on the damn thing.
Every piece of equipment he had to get it into the shop.
Exactly. Well,
my God, somebody's gonna die.
And then did you see that big machine that is the horizontal boring, whatever, that thing, or vertical boring, whatever it is, that thing,
no, that's the horizontal bore.
The horizontal one is the brand new.
Yep.
Yeah, the brand new one. But he just got the 1950s or 60s vertical machine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the one that a guy hit him up and said, I have all the original tooling for that machine, and it's all been kept. Did you watch that video yet? In a climate controlled environment its entire life. I mean, dude, it's $1 jillion worth of tooling. It's unreal. Yeah.
When he does the welding on the internal bore to remachine it,
yeah,
and he's got all the numbers for the different wire and everything that he uses, is just freaking amazing.
Oh yeah. And the fact that he talks about all of the Jet, I'm putting it back up. It's Cutting Edge Engineering on YouTube. That's what you want to look for.
Yeah.
I love that he says I'm using.
Well worth watching.
Oh, amazing. And I've been welding my entire life, and I'm not a machinist. I understand more about machining now than I did then before watching, but I still understood what I was seeing him do. But that dude is another level, and he also what's the instead of using the cutting torch to cut stuff off, he's using the arc with those big rectangle sticks. It's what's it called? It's arc something, but it strikes an arc and is blowing air to blow it away just like you would with a cutting torch. It's unreal. And the rods to do it with are like the size of your finger, but they're rectangle dude. And it cuts through 1 inch thick stuff like it's nothing.
He uses them because they don't blow back in your face.
Right. And because the control,
he
can shape the material with them and stuff. Air arc. That's what it's called. Air arc cutting. Mike Cunningham said it. Yeah. It's really, really neat.
Yeah, but he's taken those buckets that he's rebuilding, and he's cutting off an 1.5 inch piece of material.
Yeah.
And it's cutting it like you're cutting butter.
Yep. And Krishna reminded me too. So he used to build drift cars. He drifted. He had his own drift car before drifting got to be the crazy level it is. He had drift cars and he built them. He's a car guy. And like he says, I don't have time to do cars, right now. So instead of spending the money on that, I'm spending the money on tools. I'm telling you what, if I went to Australia where he's at, I would go visit him to pet the dog and just say, dude, thank you, you're a badass. I get
a kick out of the dog opening up the gifts.
Oh my God, just destroying packages. He has this great blue pit bull that is just, his name's Homeless, right? Yeah. Isn't that what Homeless is his name? Yeah. And he's hilarious, great, awesome people. So it's him and his wife, and they're just super, super cool. One man shop. And
obviously
big
him
time
and his
stuff.
wife hang out all day long together.
Yes, because they're shooting the videos all day. They're doing all this stuff. I say shooting the videos all day. I know they don't video everything, but sometimes it's late at night. You can tell that they're doing stuff. But the outtakes, you have to watch through the end of the video. The video will be over, and then there's outtakes. They are not safe for work. But dude, it is absolute hilarity. Him stumbling, trying to say shit. It's greatness. Like, genuinely great. I mean, so yeah, you got to watch him. Curtis at Cutting Edge Engineering is a baller.
There was one of the outtakes where he dropped one of the big cylinders on the ground, and he just dug a big hole in his shop floor. Every
bleepity bleep. Oh yeah, God, I know. It's so good. Yeah, Jet is, I forgot. Yeah, Jet's in Australia. So, yeah, he says we get things done differently here. Well, yeah, they're back. You get things done backwards because things spin the wrong way and whatever, So it's fine.
Well, they're upside down anyway, so.
I know, exactly. So you can't blame them. I mean, God, all the blood rushes to their heads. Maybe that's why they're so smart. I don't know.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah. But I do. I love Curtis at Cutting Edge Engineering for sure. So, okay, it is 8:15. We got 8:16. We have 14 minutes left because I have another podcast going tonight too. And if I don't feed Otis, he'll chew my leg off. So, the Lycan is asking, does West Coast Power Tour get anywhere near San Jose? No, it does not. It is going Pomona to Vegas to Pomona.
It goes to Irwindale, Vegas, and then back to Pomona.
Pomona. Yeah, that's right.
And I have headsets in the 32 now, so it's very comfortable in the car.
That's great. So it'll be quiet. You can talk. And, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fancy.
And Tanya will have to listen to my music.
Oh, there you go. I don't know if that's good or not for her. I mean...
Well, it's going to suck for her probably. But she's going to want to listen to country, and I'm not. So
that's true.
I'll probably put on like Parliament radio off of Pandora just to piss her off.
There you go. That's awesome. Okay, I was going to do a rant on driving in the rain, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to say that I'm going to say two things. I'll probably put this in a Facebook post too. Greg Abbott, governor of the state of Texas, for $1 per person, 15 years to any years of age, so driving age in the state of Texas, for $1 per person, I'll do a contract to teach every single person in Texas of driving age how to drive. Okay, again, for $1 a person. And I, in exchange for that, I will train your police and firemen how to drive for free. Okay? Every one of them in the entire state. Today, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you this, as God is my witness. On the way home in the rain, the first thing was a sheriff's car that was off on the ditch on the right side. The second thing was the 4th gen Camaro that was doing 20 or 25 miles an hour faster than everybody else in absolute pouring rain and ends up losing it while trying not to rear end a guy in an Escalade. He failed, so he did rear end the guy in the Escalade, except I don't know if it's called rear ending when you do a 180 and then back into the Escalade that's doing 50 in front of you because you're doing 80 in reverse. Okay, thereby creating a scenario where both of them are bouncing off each other. If you want to know where they were in relation to me, the impact happened when they were about 100 feet in front of me. 75 in my lane. The Camaro went around me, spun around backwards. I'm looking the dude square in the eye going, this ain't going to be good. I mom arm Otis, okay, who is like trying to fly forward. So I mom arm Otis, fucking one hand over there, like grab the clutch, do the swerve, the Civic's a little sideways, I'm like this, downshift into third and wah, around the Escalade as it's doing this, and the woman inside its eyes are this big. Not 1.5 miles later, I am merging over onto another freeway, and here comes a dude in a white, I don't know, it was a Mazda, I think, like little 4-door, comes on. I literally go, wow, there's no traffic. And mind you, it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but there's no cars. Thank God. There are 2 cars in front of me, like right in front of me. This dude comes on. There isn't a single soul on 5 lanes. Okay. And he goes out there and goes like 3 spins, backs it almost to the wall. We slow down, put our flashers on. I'm like, okay, the thing must have died. All of a sudden, you see the lights dim. It fires back up, and the dude drives down the road. 5 minutes later, another freeway merge. Dallas County Sheriff onto the freeway. Does 2 spins. Ends up going backwards. Tries to Rockford the thing unsuccessfully. By the way, Greg Abbott, every one of your officers will know how to properly pull off a Rockford, because what kind of law enforcement prick can you be if you can't do a damn Rockford, you jackhole? Anyway, so that dude shits himself, somehow doesn't get run over and keeps going, and then right before I get off the freeway to come home, I am 2 miles from my exit, and there is a motherfucking Ford Ranger that has ate the wall like its job was to eat the wall and is backwards. All of this is in a 12-mile stretch, okay, on the freeway. And yes, it was raining hard for parts of that, but it was not a big deal, you jackasses. Texans don't know how to drive. And before you go, oh, I live in Texas and I know how to drive, the only way you can say Texans know how to drive if you can look me in the fucking eye and tell me that when you're on the freeway, you think, God, all these motherfuckers on the road with me, God, they're the best drivers ever. Blow me.
There is a running joke in Western Washington about the first rain after summer. Because you'll get like 6-7 weeks where it's gorgeous, and then it rains, everybody loses their fucking head. I have seen Tahoes and Suburbans backing themselves into the center divider at 90. I have seen end over ends, all the stupid shit. It's like, it rains here 300 days a year. What the fuck happened?
Right. Well, yeah, because you understand in Southern California when it rains the first time out in 4 months and it's greasy that people need to be careful. But, dude, come on. Yeah.
You know why there aren't more accidents like that in California? Because there's too much fucking traffic. You can't get going fast enough to.
That's exactly it. Well, and we all know how to drive in traffic too. Hey, Mike Cunningham says, I bet Texans probably think that I can see tread so the tires are good and cruise along at 80. Okay, to be fair, if you can see tread, the tires are good. Okay? I mean, let's face it, right? I am the king of that.
Don't let Chad gauge tread wear.
I see
for the look on Brett's face when you guys went to do that shock test.
Yeah, and my shit was fine. I didn't have no flat tires. My stuff was just perfect.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
okay,
it was.
To frame this correctly, Brett
we've told this 15 times. But yeah.
Hold on.
I know.
But the look on his face when he looked at those tires, not the fact that your gas tanks were laying on the ground when he got there.
Yeah, I was putting fuel pumps in the truck.
But he looked at the tire and he goes, I'm going to need the dually. And I'm like, my car's up at John's place. And no, you can't have a dually, so you're going to have to go get a rental car.
He rode with somebody else. I don't remember who it was, but...
No, he rode with you.
Yeah, for part of it. But when we got down there to like Fox, then he rode with those guys. Yeah.
Well, he's embarrassed to get in that fucking thing. So
I guess so. I mean, I beat him there because they were driving slower than shit. I was bonsaiing 80 down the freeway in that bastard. Scott Malpass says Florida has all that with bullets. Well, yeah, Florida. Not really the best thing to use as an example for anything. Yeah.
Well, we have that in California too.
Yeah, true. Okay, so 5 minutes. What do we want to talk about for our last 5 minutes?
I have a little rant. Not really that bad, but it's amazing that people call themselves people that can build exhaust and plumb vehicles. And they should, if you don't really know how to do it, and people look at your shit when you're done, and kind of wide-eyed look at it, maybe you need to stop doing it or learn how to do it.
You think?
This vehicle is a perfect example.
Nice looking little Bronco.
200. Oh yeah, about 250 grand in it. Roadster shop.
No.
It's been at Jack Nickerson's place for months fixing things.
Yeah.
So Jack's driving it the other day, and I'm assuming the same people that built the freaking exhaust on it that looks like something out of Tijuana. Didn't tighten the drive shafts up. So when he slowed down, it started chattering, couldn't figure out what it was.
You think?
Yeah. The freaking 4 bolts on the flange were falling out. And I'm assuming the same person that built the exhaust built the filler neck for the gas tank that leaks when you fill it up.
Well, I mean, that's what you want in
welds.
That's what you want in a $250,000 build.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, why's my $250,000?
So hence the reason why it's here, because I'm going to chop everything out of it and actually do it right. And it's got a Coyote motor in it with a supercharger on it, so you can imagine how loud this thing is with 12-inch long mufflers on it and 3-inch exhaust.
Yeah, and you know what?
Does have an X-pipe.
A supercharged Coyote is exactly what I want in my lifted 98-inch wheelbase vehicle. I don't care what Roadster Shop chassis is under it. It's still going to be an ill-handling piece of shit. Sorry, I said that. I said that.
Yeah.
Just because it has expensive parts in it doesn't make it a good thing. Oh, God.
No, the chassis is freaking beautiful in the thing. I mean,
it's still a 20-something-inch wheelbase thing with a blown Coyote in it.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, how many pucker marks?
So we're taking the 3-inch off of it and choking it down with a 2.5.
Nice. It doesn't need any more than that.
I mean, this thing is obnoxiously loud.
Yeah.
And it's all MIG weld.
Yeah.
But it's stainless.
Right. I mean, okay. Yes, you can MIG weld stainless steel, but come on. You know.
I take that back. My personal favorite is the tip on the right side. They didn't make the tube long enough, or they cut it wrong. So they welded a piece of tubing on about 1.25 inches long.
And then put the tip on that.
Donkey.
Oh, wait, hold on. So that we don't get yelled at for being inaccurate, it isn't a 98-inch wheelbase on those first-gen Broncos. It was 92 inches. Sorry. I just looked it up.
Oh, yeah, that makes it better.
Oh, it's so much better that way. See, the problem is if you put a real tire on it, they'll touch in the middle.
Well, when I first saw it before Jack got a hold of it, it was absolutely horrible. I won't say who built it. I'm sure if one of them saw it on the show, they'll know exactly who built it, and they should not be building them.
That's awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Everybody that was on. Crosby, thank you. McTee, thank you. Wickman, I hope you're good to go for the next time. But everybody that joined us tonight.
Too, McTaggart.
Yeah, dude, you don't look horrible. I mean, you don't look good, but you don't look horrible.
Your
you don't sound that bad.
You don't look happy.
Yeah, you don't look like you feel good, but you don't look like you don't look like death warmed over. So that's good.
This is just a mild head cold. It's one of those things where it's like just stay home.
Yeah.
Eat the soup, drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It'll be fine. I'm not.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right. Well, thank you, folks. I'll be back live in 30 minutes with Mike and I think Susie. We'll see. She's in Vegas, so if she's not partying too much at the strip joints, then she's going to join us for another Everybody Eats podcast, and we're talking about Thanksgiving yumminess that we had and leftovers and all kinds of stuff. So yeah. So anyway, see you guys later. Appreciate you guys, and we will see you next time. We'll be, let's see, what is today? Is the 30th? Yeah, I'll be back from PRI. So 2 weeks from now, we'll do a show for sure.
Yeah,
it'll be the PRI wrap
that
up.
will be the,
is that the day you leave?
Leaving for the power tour.
Oh, it's the day before?
That's the day before.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yep. Yeah, so 2 weeks from now, join us again. We'll do another power shift.
And for whatever god-awful reason, they don't open up the gates until 11 o'clock anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, well, there you go.
Anyway.
That's weird.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. We appreciate you guys. We will see you next time. We're out of here.
Take care.
See ya.
See ya.